immigration question. What sort of things are people needing to be aware of in terms of the financial immigration?
Sure. So, look, I mean, whether South African citizens are planning on either moving or just sending the money out, or just purely for an investment, if they are going to be leaving, then the immigration question sort of comes into play. You have to look at the immigration on a case-by-case basis. It differs per family or per person, and it just needs to be looked at solely for that individual or that family. So, look, not everyone has to immigrate. If you don't have an RA in South Africa with money tied up in investments and that kind of stuff, and you're not planning on coming back and you're not leaving anything behind, then there's no real issue to go through the financial immigration process. Generally, you can just sort of pack up and leave. The only time that you really need to look at financial immigration is obviously if your funds are tied up in a retirement or annuity, or you have assets here that you would like to move overseas. It's also important to note that there's a difference between financial immigration and tax immigration. If you are going to financially immigrate, but you want to leave some of your properties here in South Africa, whether they be commercial or a little portfolio of residential properties that you rent, bear in mind you will be taxed on those properties, obviously. So, if you don't have anything left and you're planning on going overseas, there's also the tax immigration issue that the government is still trying to put through, and no one really understands it properly yet. But it would probably be a good idea if you are going overseas and are planning to earn more than a million rand, that you should probably tax immigrate as well, so that SARS won't double tax you later on down the line. So yeah, look, there are various different scenarios when it comes to immigration. You've just got to look at them on an individual basis. Just as another quick example, something that you might come across in the property industry is if someone has passed away and left a property to their son or daughter who now lives overseas. That son or daughter left 10, 15 years ago and they've thrown away their ID book as an example. Then that client would need to financially immigrate in order to receive the funds from the property, or once it was sold, once the later state is wrapped up, that daughter or son would need to financially immigrate to receive those funds.
Okay.
Because they've lost their ID book or have misplaced their tax number.
Yeah. Okay. And just still on that sort of topic, when is it recommended for someone to start that process? While they're here, once they've sold their property, or once they've already moved to the country that they're going to?
Look, to start the process, you need to have residency in the country that you're moving to. So sort of like a certificate of residency. So I wouldn't advise financially immigrating if you haven't found another country to move to, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But once you have got residency in another country, you're with a company like ours, the pleasure of it is that pretty much everything we do and all the admin that we do can be done via email. We don't actually need to see you face to face. We go into SARS, we do all of the legwork for you. So you are then able to go overseas if you want to, and we will make sure that we cover everything on this side. Once the properties are sold, the attorneys will obviously then, what we do is we'll open you a Rand blocked account, the client here in South Africa. So what happens is that once the RAs pay out and the attorneys have sold all your properties and that kind of stuff, they will pay all the money into that Rand blocked account. We will then convert the money and send it to wherever you are in the world. So that is a nice thing about using a company like ours compared to maybe a bank where they want you to go into a branch and sign something, or where we can just do everything online.